Hey now, today I am going to be taking a stab at a white chocolate cranberry pistachio sourdough. Sort of like that awesome white chocolate bark you can get with the pistachios and cranberries and everything in it. I love that. Let's see how that translates into sourdough. So let's see what we got to do here. So for this bread, I'm going to start off with 500 grams of just a strong baker's flour, and I'm going with the 72% hydration, so I have 360 grams of just unfiltered water here. To that, I'm going to add my flour, and I'm going to mix it up for a couple of minutes here, just to make sure that everything is really nicely mixed. Oh, and there we have it, nicely combined. So I'm going to let this sit for an hour or so until my leaven is ready to add. So after an hour of autolyse, I've checked on my leaven and it is definitely ready to go. Check that out. Beautiful, pillowy, jiggly, very active, and ready to add. So let's get prepared for that. So for this bread, I'm going to use 25% leaven. So because it's a 500 gram loaf, that works out to 125 grams. So I'm just going to spoon some out here. It is not cooperating with my spoon. So I've got this on the scale so I can just kind of track. And it went just a few grams over. No big deal. Perfect. There we go. And now I'm going to mix it by hand. I'm just going to use some filtered water here in order to help ensure that this doesn't stick to my hands as badly as it might otherwise. And then I'm just going to use this pinch and fold method here just to fully incorporate this leaven, and that'll probably take a couple of minutes. And there we go. So I'm just going to cover that up with some plastic and let it sit for 30 minutes. All right, so after half an hour there, I'm ready to add some ingredients here. So it's going to be 1.8% fine sea salt, so that's 9 grams, this 500 gram loaf. I am then going with 20% pistachios, so that worked out to 100 grams pistachios. And then I've got 25% dried cranberries. Now I did just get them in this bowl and then cover them up with some filtered water here. I'm now just going to drain that. I'm not worried about a little bit of this water being in here, just because these cranberries might still soak up a little bit and affect the hydration of the sourdough otherwise. And this was 25% dried cranberries, so that worked out to 125 grams there. You can see how much that was. So I'm just going to also add those in. And now, I guess I'll use this cranberry water just to moisten my hands, and then we're going to just go ahead and work that in. And this will probably take a couple of minutes to work all of this stuff throughout the dough. All right, there we go. So I've got all of that stuff mixed in fairly well. It's still kind of doing that obstinate, I don't really want to stick together super well thing, but by the time I let this rest for another half hour, it should be good to go. So after that rest, we're ready for a stretch and fold here. So I'm just going to use my cranberry filtered water there and give this 4 little stretches. I find with these breads that have a lot of stuff added to them that they're less likely to, even using gravity here to my advantage, less likely to want to stretch too terribly much, but that's okay. I'm gonna do this. There we go, perfect. So I'm going to cover this up, and in 30 minutes we'll be coming back for the lamination. All right, so after that 30 minutes, it is time for the lamination and time to add our white chocolate chips. So just using some filtered water here in a spray bottle, I'm going to wet down my surface just so that hopefully nothing sticks and causes a problem. I'm going to again just use my cranberry water here for moistening my hands. We're going to get this out. Now, I'm just going to begin the somewhat tedious process of stretching this out. This might take a minute or so. You got to get it nice and flat, and then we are able to add those chips. Okay, I think that is about as flat as I'm going to get it. Ideally, you sort of want like a nice big rectangular shape. So I've got, this is 40% by weight white chocolate chips, so it's 200 grams. Now I'm just going to sprinkle them in here, right in the middle third or so. Right a fold over top. More chocolate chips on that part there. I'll fold on top of that. Then some right in the very middle. With some of my sourdoughs, I do try to get most of this like chunky kind of stuff during the lamination, but because I have so many chocolate chips, I wanted to get the pistachios and the cranberries in earlier, just so I wasn't trying to add too much during this phase. So there we go. I'm gonna get it back into the bowl. I'm also just gonna scoop up all my chips here and stuff that kind of fell out, plunk them in like that. And once again, we're just gonna wrap this up, cover it up, and give it 30 minutes. All right, after that 30-minute rest, we're ready now for sort of a modified coil fold. There's so much stuff in here that it's not going to want to flex the way that it normally would. So I'm just kind of grabbing it and kind of forcing it underneath, making a bit of a seam, which is stretching it out very similarly to what the coil fold will do. I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna check on it in half an hour. We might do another one, or you might just leave it to finish fermenting. So I only gave this the one coil fold, and then I actually gave it just about 2 hours after. So you just kind of have to call it and figure out when it looks like it's fermented enough. It's really tricky when it comes to breads that are full of this much stuff, just because it's not as willing to jiggle around and let you know if it's got that sort of pillowy character or not. But anyway, we are now going to go ahead and do a quick pre-shape. So I'm just going to use a little bit of that same strong baker's flour. Get that out here. Also coat my hands in that. Get this out just beside here. Got all kinds of chocolate chips and fun stuff still going on. Let's try and, I mean, not that it needs much shaping. It's still a decent shape. Just gonna take that, flip it upside down, let it do its thing here for about 10 minutes, and then I'm going to flip and do a final shape. So after 10 minutes, I've just gone ahead and thrown a liner in that banneton. I'm going to coat it with a little bit of rice flour, just to help prevent this from trying to stick. Then, flouring my hands just a little bit here. We're going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to do another little shape on it. Of course, now I've got the side that has all of these ingredients stuck on it. That's okay. Just get it firmed up a little bit here around the outside. Then, a little bit more rice flour on that. I'm going to pop it into the banneton. I'm going to not waste any of these chocolate chips. Get them on there. We're going to cover it up and let it sit in the fridge overnight, and we'll bake in the morning. All right, it is bake time. My oven's been preheated at 500 degrees for an hour here, so I am ready to get this into there. Came out really nicely. Lots of rice flour in there to help prevent burning. So I'm just going to score this up. It's a little tough to do this with the all the chunky goodness in there, but we will make it work. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to pop this into the oven, cover it up with my cast iron combo cutter, and then I'm going to drop the heat down to 440 degrees and give it 30 minutes. All right, so full disclosure, I wound up deciding to bake this at 430 instead of 440 for that half an hour. I'm just trying to prevent any excess burning or whatever on the bottom of these, just because of the high chocolate content of the bread. There we are. So now I'm going to just remove it from the actual cast iron, and that should hopefully again prevent excess burning on the underside. And I'm going to drop it to 420 for the next 20 minutes, and then we'll take another look at it. All right, so after 20 minutes, I'm just going to pop out the sourdough here. I don't want to cook it too much longer than that because I'm worried that the chocolate might really start to burn, and that wouldn't taste as awesome. So anyway, there we are. I'm going to let it cool down, and once it's all cooled, we can slice into it. Well, here we are. It is time to slice into this bread.
Hello.
And I have somebody here who's pretty eager to taste it. Pop into that there. Look at that. That is absolutely beautiful. So much fun stuff inside of it.
Let me see.
Check that out. What do you think?
Oh,
We got those pistachios, the cranberries, white chocolate chunks.
I want white chocolate.
Yeah, well, you're about to get white chocolate.
Yay!
Just gonna go ahead, slice this here, and what do you think, kiddo?
Yummy.
Excellent.
How does it taste?
Tastes awesome. You have the that sweet white chocolate going on. You've got the tartness of the cranberries, and you get that little bit of a kind of like a nutty crunch coming out of the pistachios, which is exactly what we were after. So, did we do it right? Excellent. So, till next time, keep it at 11.
Bye bye.